Growing up, I was a princess, and a rotten one at that, if you ask my ugly brothers. I grew up in a suburb right outside of Houston, Texas, which meant this princess was never too good to take off her tiara and go play in the mud. There came to be a time when this little country queen was ready to trade in her boots for a pair of stilettos and take on the big city. Who knew that 10 years later I'd get accepted into a big city school that allowed me to travel all around the world. Throughout my life, I was fortunate enough to be able to travel to many places in the world with my family, and this created a thirst for knowledge of the world's vast amount of cultures and a yearning to see everything I could while I can. When I got accepted into Northeastern University, I was over the moon. It became my dream school as soon as I stepped foot onto campus my very first visit. My acceptance, however, had a catch. I would have to travel abroad my very first semester of college, but I had no doubt that I could do it. After a bit of life's unexpected chaos, I decided to pick the location that scared me the most. I wanted to swan dive, head first into college and all it had waiting for me at the University of Sydney in Australia. There were so many differences between the place that I used to call home and my new home. The nightlife in Sydney was actually alive. The locals were so much nicer. Their driving was wrong. The drinking age is 18, and the food is not at all what I'm used to. I've learned that when Australians say spicy, it means there will be some flavor, and Australians have learned that when I say spicy, it means they'll be in sweat and tears. Sydney was a fresh start in my life that allowed me to be myself while also discovering who I am. The thing I miss most about home is not having my girls with me at all times. I had to go from living in a house full of guys to learning how to live with girls, and not just 1 or 2 girls, 7. These girls became more than just roommates. They became some of my best friends, and I will cherish them forever. And then there was sail. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say it took everyone about half their time here in Sydney to finally understand what it meant, and now it's easy to see how we use it in our everyday lives. First, there's well-being, the taking care of yourself and others to be in a healthy state of mind and body. Then, there's social consciousness and commitment, recognizing the needs of those around you and committing to engage in action. What my apartment needed was a family, and now we're all here for each other at any time. Next, professional and personal effectiveness, persevering through setbacks and disappointments to develop relationships and networks. The sail dimension I found myself using most was global mindset, which is working with people and spaces of a different environment that add up to a whole new adventure. I got to go to Helensburgh for a short weekend trip where I made tons of memories, including going sandboarding with some of my roommates and riding a camel down the beach. I was lucky enough to go to New Zealand with a group of friends for mid-semester break, where we saw amazing views and got to experience all sorts of crazy adventures. We got to go to the original Inuit site of Melbourne for a weekend trip and meet other Northeastern kids while we toured the city. My parents and grandparents came up to see me for a few days and then took me back to New Zealand, where I ended up getting to see my mom bungee jump for the first time. It wasn't until making this video that I learned this whole experience was the 5th sail dimension, intellectual agility, the experience in a new and unique situation that contributes to your field.